Warning, if you're renting a car this holiday season, you may leave behind some personal information, not even know it. If you use the car's Bluetooth to connect with your smartphone and make a call, get directions, or listen to music, you should know that technology in the car is storing information.
Cyber is essential to everything we do. So this entire conference and the panels on national security are cyber networks and infrastructure underlie everything we're talking about. Our economy, from ATMs to air traffic, all rely on our ability to trust the information that's sent.
Saudi central bank computers are said to have been damaged by Iranian malware.
This is a kind of an unusual hack. This sort of counts under the category of cyber war rather than espionage. So the hackers didn't go in and take information. What they were actually trying to do is just some level of significant destruction of the networks themselves. So this is more like throwing a grenade into a network rather than a spy sneaking into a network and stealing information.
And today it came from the world's most powerful woman in the free world, the German Chancellor Angela Merkel. She, along with intelligence agencies, are just now realizing how massive a cyber attack was last weekend that took out hundreds of thousands of phone connections here in Germany. Now, it has taken a couple of days for German authorities to gauge just how massive an internet attack really was last weekend. Hundreds of thousands of Deutsche Telekom customers were suddenly cut off on Sunday. Deutsche Telekom says it managed to contain the attack and that it could have been worse, something on a global scale. As we heard today, the number of cyber attacks is increasing, and that will not change. At the same time, the Internet of Things is upon us. Everything in our lives is becoming interconnected via the Internet, our cars, refrigerators, power grids, bank accounts. And none of them yet, not even our smartphones, are smart enough to recognize an attack. Now that means a cyber offensive could bring modern society as we know it to a standstill without a single shot being fired.
I think our biggest challenge here is number one is that the Internet of Things, everything being connected, and also I think the digitization of the globe is really driving the vulnerabilities relative to the cybersecurity and cyber attacks.
Identification in a digital world is crucial, from voting to healthcare to online biometrics. Ensure the security of those transactions and ensure a fast, frictionless customer experience as well.
How did biometrics come about?
It really wasn't called biometrics, it was called fingerprinting, understanding that your fingerprints were a unique identifier to ensure that you were you. There's iris image, face, voice. Some people are working on gait biometrics in terms of how you walk.
Thank you. You have been identified.
You've seen recent developments just the past few days of Citibank in Australia. Certain branches are now not taking cash. The Indian government banning notes. Yeah, so cashless payments are on the rise, and cash is slowly declining. And I mean, even Sweden is such a kind of pioneer in a cashless society.
This just sounds like something out of a movie.
Well, it's interesting.
A little bit more serious and unusual. At least 2 people have died overnight as Melbourne fell victim to an extremely rare but deadly outbreak. Have you ever seen anything like this?
No, look, I've been an emergency physician for about 35 years, worked in a number of hospitals, and I can say, hand on heart, that I haven't actually seen this before.
The weather change also triggered a major medical emergency. The city, would you believe, ran out of ambulances.
It comes as at least one expert declares the emergency the worst of its type in global history.
And what has been particularly unique about this public health emergency here in Victoria was the impact on so many people that have never had asthma before, that have never had any indication of any respiratory problems, and we've never seen anything like it either in our state or in Australia.
Has prompted warnings to residents about bats falling from the sky.
What are your thoughts sort of heading into January and February?
Yeah, this one's taken us by surprise because November, which is normally one of our hotter months, it's certainly taken us a little bit by surprise.
Meanwhile, back at home, over a dozen wildfires have now forced thousands to flee eastern Tennessee.
Please, Lord, let us get off this mountain.
By early evening, wind speeds suddenly doubled, turning into hurricane-force winds that topped 87 miles per hour.
Hours later, the unimaginable.
This whole place is on fire.
How would you describe this?
The gates of hell.
The gates of hell.
Flames closed in on the Park Vista Hotel in downtown Gatlinburg. People trapped inside recorded video on their cell phones as the fire burned. The lights flickered on and off in the smoke-filled lobby where guests were forced to wear masks.
Wildfires continue to burn across Israel. Some near Jerusalem and Tel Aviv are out of control. Nearly 80,000 people have been evacuated.
Alarming wave after wave of environmental change.
The winds are howling 50, 60 miles per hour.
Sweeping planet Earth. Increasing in intensity and frequency, say a vast majority of scientists.
A Santa ban is rubbing parents the wrong way in one Oregon school district. That district notified staff that they should avoid religious-themed decorations in their classroom, and Santa is included in that ban. The district says it wants to make sure all kids are comfortable at school, no matter what their religion.
If you're going to put, a giant cross on the window, that's one thing, but I think that Santa Claus is more folklore and American history as opposed to a religious symbol at this point in time.
Oh, it's just a big fat man in a red suit with a big smile. What's not to like?
A memo sent out to principals and some teachers reads in part, "We ask that you be respectful and sensitive to the diverse perspectives and beliefs of our community and refrain from using religious-themed decorations or images like Santa Claus." Yeah, the spokesperson we talked to said that memo really was just supposed to be a reminder to be sensitive and inclusive to all students.
A Camp Pendleton Marine wife says she was hurt when her HOA in Oceanside ordered her to remove her American flag.
This is important to us, and we're American, and it's not offensive to anybody. It's not even doing anything.
The flag is certainly not offensive. But the homeowners association that oversees the complex where the Valentis own a condo says the flag is violating its rules.
Coming from a family with a lot of people in the military, and this election that just went on was just crazy, and I just feel like I'm being targeted. There's other people in this community that have other things up in the same exact spot. And I haven't seen them taken down, no consequences with that.
Valenti believes we are a country in crisis. Scenes like this in El Cajon, where flags are being burned, hurts.
Unfortunately, we live in a country right now where people are burning flags and disrespecting flags.
Reason this Marine wife wasn't about to let this battle go, even though her husband didn't want to make a fuss.
He's over there serving our country, and his response was simply, whatever, just take it down. We'll get an American flag rug or something, like doormat or something instead. And I said no.
She felt targeted.
I see the letter and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I just think it's disgusting what's happening in this country with the flag. It's America and we should be able to fly it, There's bigger things to worry about in this world.
And new backlash against BuzzFeed for questioning the faith of popular HGTV stars Chip and Joanna Gaines. Now, two Christian brothers who lost their own HGTV show 2 years ago because of their religious beliefs are coming to their defense.
Well, here the Thought Mafia is targeting another Christian couple. Jason and I knew, this is the same thing that came after us. It's time to stand up for the Gaines family. And here's what's interesting, is that this agenda to silence men and women of faith, and really to silence anyone that disagrees with this sexual revolution, the ceiling has become the floor. You look from Obergefell in 15 and now to where we are today, where Jason and we were actually fired for simply voicing our opinions about marriage and sexuality within the context of marriage. The Gaines are being pressured because they simply attend a church that has a pastor that speaks about our traditional beliefs.
Hello everyone, I'm Tom Cook, and a man posted this on Facebook this morning, a piece of a Bible he found near Dollywood, the theme park in Tennessee that was nearly burned by those wildfires. But it's the Bible verses that survived, he says, that gave him goosebumps. Joel 1:19, "To you, Lord, I call, for fire has devoured the pastures in the wilderness, and flames have burned up all the trees of the field." Joel 1:20, "Even the beasts of the field pant for you, because water brooks are dried up, and fire has devoured the pastures of the wilderness."
Although Chip Gaines did go on Twitter saying, quote, "Be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be courageous, be strong, do everything in love."
What we're talking about here is an agenda that has gone from acceptance to appreciation to celebration, and now they are going to force participation. And that's why we have to stand up to this.